All right. Hi, everyone. This is Mrs. Williams. Hopefully you can see my screen. Instead of doing our normal meeting where you can see me, I have it set up so I'm sharing my screen. So as I go through all of this stuff with Scratch, you should be able to see my screen and hear my instructions, and that way you know exactly what I'm looking at and what buttons to click and all that fun stuff. So this is the Magic of Scratch coding program. I did just a teeny bit of Scratch coding before school closed in the spring. I just learned how to do some of this stuff not that long ago, so I thought it might be fun to do a couple little fairy tale kind of projects with you guys during summer. So I'm hoping to get this put up on Facebook. I'm recording right now, and I'm hoping that it'll go up on Facebook smoothly after we are all finished. So if anybody isn't here with us live, hopefully you'll be able to watch it later on Facebook. So I'm going to go ahead. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the two projects that we're going to do. The first one is a little bit easier, and the next one is just a little bit more complicated, but they're both pretty basic. And it goes over a lot of the stuff that you will need to know about Scratch. There are millions and millions of things I'm not going to show you today, but this will give you a good idea of how it works and the kind of fun stuff that you can do on Scratch. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click right here, the Magic of Scratch Coding 1, and your screen doesn't look like this because this is my stuff. But I'm going to go full screen, and I'm going to hit this little flag button right here in the middle is what's going to play our little project. So I'm going to click this, and then you guys can see what my characters do. You can see I've got a dragon and a unicorn, and there's a little potion bottle down here. So when I hit play, you can see what they do. We've got our dragon is moving and breathing fire, and you can see the unicorn down here is changing colors. And that is it. It's just a little animation. So if I wanted to, I could play it again, but it's the same code. It's the same actions a second time, okay? So these are really short, so if you like this, you can go in later and add all kinds of things to your project, whatever you want to do, but that's going to be our first one. Like I said, it's a little bit basic, and this one is just a little bit more complicated. This is our second project. I'm going to make that big, and as you can see, we have our fairy here with her wand, and we have a princess. So I'm going to show you what else you can do with Scratch. I'm going to turn. There's a little bit of sound on this one, but I'm not sure if you guys will be able to hear it. So if you can't hear the sound when we actually do the code ourselves, you should be able to hear the sound on your own device. So we'll have to see, but I'm going to go ahead and play this one. All right, not only did you probably hear the sound, but it echoed through my phone, which I'm using to record the audio, so you probably heard it 4 times, but we're only going to put the sound in twice. There's a little bit of an echo there, so sorry about that. I was not expecting that to happen, but at least you can hear the little magic wand sound. So as you can see with this one, our fairy changed the color of our princess's dress, and the first one she did not like. She did not like the pink dress. So the fairy thought about it and changed it to purple, and now the princess is happy. So that's going to be our second one. Like I said, it's a little bit more complicated. There's just more code than there is with the other one, but it's really not too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. So if you have Scratch, hopefully you guys are signed in and everything. Yours will look a little different. I don't know what's on the home screen, so I'm going to just stay here for now. But if you go to your name, mine has my name in it, but I am an adult, so if your username is like something that doesn't say your name, that's probably good. But if you want to just click up here and you can go to My Stuff, you guys probably don't have anything here unless you already had a Scratch account, but I have all these different projects that I have done. So this is where your projects are going to be when we're all done. Your two that we make today are going to be here at the end. So just so you guys kind of know where to look. But what we're going to do to start is we're going to hit create up here. And this will be like our canvas to start our first project. So the first thing I want you guys to do up here where it says Untitled, yours probably just says Untitled or maybe Untitled 1, but since I've done some projects, mine is Untitled 3. But you're going to get rid of that, and you are going to type the magic, oops, maybe if I can spell, of Scratch Coding 1. We've got 2 projects today. So go ahead and type the magic of Scratch Coding 1. And it probably changed up here for you too, because that's what we have named our first project. So it'll change up here. And this stuff saves automatically. So as we work on stuff, it will save it by itself. So I'll give you guys just a second to do that. So what we are looking at here, we have different parts of the screen. So this is different parts of our code that we've got. So if you guys look over here on the left side, you can see there's all these different circles with different words, and all these things down here, this is all our code that we have. So I'll talk about that more in just a minute, but if you want to just kind of scroll, you can see all the different things. Some of this stuff is even a little bit too advanced for me. I'm not an expert. I just learned how to do this around Christmas time, so I definitely don't know everything. But we're going to keep it easy today. So I've got at least a beginner knowledge, and hopefully you will too after this. But that's the code. And right here in the center where everything is blank is where we are going to bring all of our code when we're ready to start making our characters move. So up here is where our, it's our stage. Sorry, I'm trying to remember all the vocab. It's our stage. So this is where we're going to have our backdrop and where all our characters are going to go, and then we've got this little green button like we had earlier, and that's what we'll click to make our project run, so that way we can see the animation like we did before. Down here we've got our little cat picture. You can see right here that it says sprite, which was not something I was familiar with before I started working with this website. So I just want to highlight that really quick. Your sprite is the character that you are coding, the one that you are giving instructions to. So right now our sprite is, our little cat is the only one on our screen, but if you remember from the animation I showed you before, we had a dragon and a unicorn, and we had our princess and our fairy and some other little things. So that we'll find all that stuff in a minute. But that's when I say sprite, that is it just is like the little character. And you can also have a backdrop. Right now our backdrop is just white, but if you remember, we had a forest and we had a castle, so we're going to add all that stuff in just a minute too. But this stuff right here is all the information about the sprite. So as you can see, this is at 0 as an X and 0 as a Y. So he is right in the middle of our screen, and so that's what it says. That's why it says that down there. If you guys can try to imagine a graph like you'd make in math class, like if you have your Y-axis going up this way and the X-axis going this way, these numbers will depend on where your character is. So I can click and drag my sprite around, but when I let go, it's going to change these numbers down here. Did you see that? So now our sprite is at negative 51x and at 92y. So he was right in the middle. I probably won't be able to drop them right at 0. He was right in the middle. You can change the numbers down here too if you really know exactly where you want them. So he was right in the middle. And then when we moved him, it changed. So if it's negative, it's to the bottom, negative y is to the bottom, and negative x is to the left. And if it's positive numbers, it's up top and to the right. So you can kind of see those are positive numbers, and these guys are negative numbers. And then we've got a negative x and a positive y, and a positive x and a negative y down here. So I know that's kind of hard without the lines. But I'm going to tell you exactly what numbers to type in to get your sprites where you need them when we start doing our project. So But that's the stage, and we've got our backdrops down here and our sprites down here and our code. There's just a couple other little things I'm going to show you, but we'll wait till we're in the moment to do that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come down here to where our sprite is, and we are going to click on this little trash can because we don't need a cat right now. We're working on our dragon and unicorn project, so there is no need for the cat. So we're going to get rid of him, and now we have nothing up here on our stage. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go down here at the very bottom. It says choose a backdrop. If you guys are on an iPad, if your picture is down here, like where you can't see any of these buttons, there should be a little minimize button so that you don't see your own face anymore, and that way you can see where I'm clicking down here in the bottom right hand corner. I know that a lot of times that's where the box is, so you might have to get rid of it. But so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go down here to choose a backdrop, and it's going to open up all of this stuff. So as you can see, there are tons and tons of backdrops. There's lots of different options for any kind of different scene you want to make. There is one down here with a grid. I didn't know that, or I would have put that on there while I was talking. But if you need a little bit more instruction on the X and Y axis and stuff, this might be a good place to kind of play around with that so you can see a little bit more clear on how the X and Y axis work. But we are going to choose the forest backdrop. So it's right here for me. You might have to scroll a little bit, but it's the one that says forest, and it looks like this. So go ahead and find that one and click on it, so that way it is here on our stage. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our sprites. So down here we had our backdrop button. Right next to it we have our sprite add button. It says choose a sprite, and it looks like a little cat, which we just deleted our cat. He's kind of like the basic mascot of Scratch, so that's why it's a cat. But go ahead and click there. And again, it opens up all of this stuff. There are tons of options for these. As you can kind of see, there's lots of stuff. There's people, there's animals, there's inanimate objects, there's all kinds of stuff down here. So you can scroll for a little bit if you want, but we are going to go ahead and click right here on fantasy, just because we're doing fairy tale stuff, so our character is going to be under fantasy. But as you can see, there's a ton of other options if you want to make your own project after you learn how to do these two with me. So we are going to go ahead and click first on our dragon. And now there he is on our stage. We're going to leave him right there for now, and we're going to go ahead and choose a sprite again. Click on fantasy, and we're going to add just a regular unicorn. There's 3 unicorn options, but for now we're just going to add the first one, okay? So now we've got our unicorn on the stage, and they're kind of on top of each other, right? So that's what I mean when I was talking earlier about these X and Y numbers. We're going to have to spread them out a little bit. So we'll do that in just a minute, but I want to add our potion first. There it is. So there's 3 different potions, and I clicked the purple one. I'll show you how to change the potion in just a minute, but just so you know, it might not look like purple at the very beginning. So go ahead and click the potion, and again, it went right there and kind of in the middle. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to position our sprites, and then I'll show you how to change the potion once we get to that one. But we're going to start with the dragon. So you can see down here, the potion is the one that we have clicked on. You can see how it's blue, and you've got your little option to delete it right here. So this is our active sprite. It's the one that we have clicked on and are working on right now. But we want to be using the dragon. So we're going to click over here on the dragon, make sure it's highlighted blue and that you're working with the right sprite. And we are going to go ahead and change the Y and X, or the X and Y, sorry, axes, so that way he is in the right spot. So if you click right here by the X, right now mine says 70, yours might say something different, but we are going to delete the 70, and we are going to change it to 141, negative 141, and then you can just click down here out of the way, and you can see he moved over. Remember how we said negative was to this side? So he moved over to the left because we made it a negative number. And then for the y, I lost my mouse. For the y, we're going to change it to 101. So if it's a positive number on the y-axis, remember it's going to go up high. So type 101 and then you can click off, and he will go up there to the top. And as you can see, he's cut off a little bit, right? So what I did, because I thought that the dragon and the unicorn were a little bit too big to both be on the screen, I made my dragon a different size. You can see right here where it says size. So instead of 100, I made my dragon 75 for size, and then that way he's a little bit smaller, and you can see him all the way on the screen, okay? So that is our dragon sprite placement. So you've got X at negative 141, Y at 101, and the size at 75. And that is what we're going to leave our dragon sprite there for right now. But that is what this kind of box should look like, okay? All right, next we are going to do our unicorn. So right now, like I said, we've clicked on the dragon, so click on the unicorn. Make sure that you've got the blue box on the unicorn. And we are going to do something similar to the unicorn. So right now you can see mine says 94 and negative 40. If your numbers are different right now, that's okay, but we are going to change the x-axis to 155. Go ahead and you can click off of that. And then the y-axis, we are going to change to 86. No, we're not. We're going to change it to negative 86. That's what I mean about making sure that you've got the right numbers in here, because 86 was way up high, right, above the x-axis. But our dragon's going to fly this way, remember? So our unicorn has to be at negative 86, so that way she is not in the way when the dragon starts to fly. So we're going to do the same thing with the size, just so that way there's a little bit more room. We're going to get rid of the 100 and change it to 75, so that way our unicorn fits in the screen a little bit better. But as you can see, the unicorn is now facing the wrong way. You remember in the video that we watched, the unicorn was facing this way. So what we're going to do is we are going to change the direction of our unicorn. The first thing, though, we need to do is we're going to have to click this button that says left, right, so that way our unicorn doesn't go upside down on accident. So you've got this little arrow that you can click, and you can pull it if you want to go like that to bring to negative 90, or if you'd rather just type negative 90 down here, you could have done that too. It's up to you, but both things will work, and now our unicorn is facing the right direction. Okay, and we have one more sprite here. We've got our potion. So click down here on your potion sprite, and we are going to change the coordinates so that the sprite is down in the bottom left-hand corner. So go ahead and go up to X. We are going to type negative 207. And then click off, so that makes it go all the way over here, but we also have to have it go down. So do you think if it has to go down, will it be a negative number or a positive number? Do you remember what we said? It'll be negative. Remember how negative was way down here and positive was way up here? All right, so we are going to change that number to negative 132 to get our potion right down in the bottom, okay? So negative 207, negative 132. We can leave the size and the direction the same on this one. But there's one more thing I want to show you about the potion sprite, and you'll need to know this a little bit more for the next project, but I went ahead and I was going to give you the option to change it in this one too, just as an added fun little thing. So what you're going to do when you've clicked on your potion is you're going to come way over here. Remember how we talked about code earlier on this side? We've got our code right here, but the next button says costumes. Go ahead and click on the costume for me. And as you can see down here, we have potion A, potion B, and potion C. There's 3 different ones. And depending on which one you click on over here, it changes which potion is on our stage. So you can pick whichever potion you want. I am going to go, I think, with the blue one, but you can pick whichever one you want and then just go back and hit code and it'll stay like that because that's the one that you have chosen, okay? All right. Hopefully you are with me so far. This is how our project is going to be set up. So now we're going to actually start pulling the code over and getting all that ready. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a reset sprite. So essentially what this does, it's not necessary, but I add a reset sprite to all of my projects because it will reset everything when you click on it. That way, if your code doesn't work how you want it to, you don't have to figure out how to reset everything. You can just click on your reset sprite and it'll do the work for you. It's very awesome. I love the reset sprite. We're going to do it on this one, and then we have a reset on our next one too. So what you're going to do is you are going to go, make sure we're clicked on the potion. We should be, unless we clicked somewhere else, but make sure you've got your blue line down here by the potion. And you are going to click on events. So this one that says events, you're going to click on the yellow one. And so you are going to click on the one that says when this sprite is clicked. And what you're going to do is you're going to click and you're going to drag it, keep your finger on the mouse and drag it out this way into this big empty white space, okay? So that's our first piece of code. So when this sprite is clicked, what's going to happen? It's going to reset. So we are going to broadcast the message. So click broadcast message, and you see how there's like a little gray box right there? When you put your code on, they have to stick together. You see how these two things look like they go together, kind of like a Lego? So you have to make sure that you've got your code blocks stuck together just like this, okay? So make sure if you put it down like this, it's not going to work right because they're not connected. It has to be a sequence. It has to be one thing right after the other. So make sure you've got them snapped together. And we are going to change where it says message 1 right here. We're going to add a new message and just type the word reset. Just like that. Reset. And then hit OK. All right? So when this sprite is clicked, everything is going to reset. You'll see what I mean a little better in just a minute. I should have done reset at the beginning when I was showing my videos, but you'll see. So that's it for this one, because our potion isn't going to move, it's not going to change colors, it's not going to do anything, it's just there so that way it can help us reset our project, okay? So we're going to go to the dragon next. So click the dragon, and you see how that code goes away? Because it was only attached to our potion sprite. So when we click on the dragon, it goes away because we've got a fresh slate over here. So the dragon is going to have some movements, and then the dragon is also going to need to know where to go when we hit the reset sprite. Okay, so right now this is at the very beginning. Everything is going to go back to normal when we hit reset. So we're going to do that first. We're going to do the reset line of code first. So under events still over here, you've got all these different options, but instead of broadcasting when the sprite is clicked, like on our potion, we are going to be receiving the instructions. The potion is the one that puts out the instructions, that gives them, and the dragon and the unicorn are going to follow the instructions. So we are going to pull the one that says, when I receive reset, and then we want our dragon to go back exactly how he was at the beginning. So if you remember when we were watching it earlier, he's going to move, and then he's going to breathe fire when he's over here, and then he's going to turn around and move back and breathe fire. So if he's breathing fire, we need him to go back to normal. So when he's not breathing fire like he is right now, okay? So we are going to click up here under costumes, and as you can see, kind of like with the potion, our dragon has different costumes. So he's breathing fire, and he's flying, and he's just normal here. So if he's going to go back to the very beginning, we need him to go back to normal. So it's Dragon A is what is his normal, like, pose, okay? So we are going to go up here to looks, and we want him to switch his costume back to normal when he receives reset. So you see over here where it says switch costume? I'm going to click that and drag it over. But right now it says Dragon C, and we said it was Dragon A that was his normal. So we're going to click down here. We're going to click on Dragon A. So that way when we go back to the beginning, he switches back to the same pose. Okay? Okay. And then what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that he is facing the right direction, because when he's flying back this way, he's going to be facing this way, the same way the unicorn is, but we need him to turn back around. So that is going to be up under motion. So these are all the different motions that our sprites are going to be able to do, but we want him to point in the direction. And 90 is perfect just how it is, because that's what our dragon is doing right now at the beginning, okay? So 90, point in direction 90. And then we are going to make sure that our sprite is back exactly in the same spot, the same X and Y coordinates as he is right now. So we are going to go to, you can see it says go to X and Y. It's got the different coordinates on there. And those are already right because that's where he is right now. So you shouldn't have to change them. It should say go to X negative 141 and to Y 101. And that's what it says over here too. That's exactly what we want. So then our dragon is going to be making the right pose and facing the right direction and back in the right spot at the very, as the beginning when we hit reset, okay? So just to test this, I'm going to click on our dragon and I'm going to move him over here. So then when I click on the reset button, he goes back to normal. So if I had changed his costume or if I had changed his direction, he would have changed all that too, but now just for the sake of showing you guys, if he's over here, you can see the coordinates are different, but then when I hit the reset sprite, he goes back where he belongs. So that's the point of that, and it makes it a little bit easier to reset your stage. If you want to add more code or if something didn't work right and you need to start over from the beginning, it's just a good, quick way to make sure everything's back to normal, okay? So we are going to go ahead and add the rest of the code for the dragon. So we are going to go back to events, and we are going to do, so instead of receiving any messages or doing anything, when we really start our project, when we want our code to run, we're going to click on this go button up here. You can see this green flag. So we are going to click and drag over the one that says when this flag is clicked. And you can see how I'm making a separate column, right? This is all the reset code. So this is what he's going to do when we reset our stage, but everything here is going to be the movement and all that stuff that he does. So there are two different lines of code because they're 4 different actions. This is to do the stuff, and this is to go back to the beginning, okay? So make sure they're not connected. They should be separate. So the first thing that our dragon is going to do is we are going to make him move. So we are going to make him move. Sorry, I'm trying to read my directions. I feel like I skipped a step. Yeah, we're going to do the costume change first. Oops, I got to click back on A. So what we're going to do first is we are going to go to looks, and we are going to switch our dragon costume, and we're going to have him flying. So this is the fire-breathing one. Dragon C is breathing fire. We're going to wait on that one, but we're going to click on Dragon B So that way he flies, okay? So click back to A to put him back to normal over here. But when we go here, we're going to drop down and click on drag and B. So that will make him start flying or do the motion to fly, but then he actually has to move. So instead of just like zapping from one side to the other, just to move, like he's just going to like bounce, we are going to have him glide. So you can see over here where it says glide. One of them says to a random position, but we're going to not click that one and do this one that has the actual coordinates on it, okay? So we are going to glide, and we're going to change these 3 boxes, because right now these 2 coordinates are exactly where he is already, so there's no reason to glide to the same place. So we're going to change the Y to 83. We are going to change the X to 83, I'm sorry, and the Y to 87. And that way he'll be, remember, positive is up here in this corner, so he's going to go from here over to there. But we want him to go a little bit slower, so we're going to just glide. Actually, let's watch this, and we'll kind of see how it goes. So right now, we're just going to change our costume, and we're going to glide to the other side of the screen. So let's go up here and hit play and just see what that looks like, okay? All right, do you see how fast he went? I think we want him to go a little bit slower than that. So I'm going to change this to 3 seconds, so it takes him a little bit longer. So then this is a good time to click our reset sprite. You can see that the dragon's costume has changed and that he's in the wrong spot, so if we click the potion, he goes back to normal. That's what I was saying earlier about that being really helpful, because it just kind of resets the whole stage and then you don't have to click and drag or guess as to where he was before. It just sets it right back to normal. So now let's click and watch him go for 3 seconds. Alright, you see how it took him longer to get over there? That's what we want. We want to go a little bit slower. So click back on this on the potion, so that way he goes back to normal. And the next thing we are going to do is we're going to change his costume again. So once he gets down here, we want him to breathe some fire. So we're going to switch our dragon costume to Dragon C. Remember, C was the last option. It was the one where he breathes fire. So go ahead and do that. And then we want him to wait for just a second before he turns around and goes back the other way. So when you want your sprites to wait, it's down here under Control. So click on Control. And you've got this one up here that says wait 1 second. So make sure it goes at the bottom. You can see how you can put it anywhere, but make sure that you're stacking stuff on the bottom. So that way stuff is going in order, okay? Alright, and so now we want our dragon to turn around. Once he gets down to the end here, we want him to turn around and go the other way. So we are going to do another one that's point in the direction. So it's up here under motion. It's a blue one. We're going to do that, but we are going to change it. So like I said, you can drag here if you want to, or you can just change the numbers, but we're going to make him turn around to -90. So he turns right around. And we're going to send him back the other way in just a second, okay? So right now, let's click play and just watch. So there he goes across the stage, and he breathes some fire, and then he turned around and he was upside down. So let's go. All right, reset. I need to get rid of this one. Hold on. So if you want to delete, you can click and drag it and pull it away so it's on its own. And then you can just hit the delete button on your keyboard and it will get rid of that. So let's try to hit that again. There, he's in the right spot. So remember when we did our unicorn, we clicked this button to make sure that our unicorn didn't turn upside down or do anything funky. We didn't do that on our dragon. So go ahead and click your dragon and click this right here and click this left-right button so that way he won't turn upside down again on accident. Alright, and now we're going to add our point in direction, and we are going to change it to -90. And he should turn around the right way this time, so let's test it. There he goes across the screen. He stops to breathe fire, and then he turns around. But before he starts flying again, we want to change him back to the costume that looks like the flying dragon, remember? We've got our flying dragon and our fire-breathing dragon and then our regular dragon. So we want to change him back to flying. So click Switch Costume, drag it down. We're going to go Dragon Costume B. That was the flying one. Go ahead and hit Reset just so that way everything is normal over here. We're going to test this again in just a minute. So we're going to switch him back to Dragon Costume B, and then we want our dragon to glide back to his normal spot. So he's over here and he's breathing fire, and we need him to come back to this side of the stage. So we are going to go up to Motion and do Glide. Again, go ahead and pull and add the glide one. We are going to change this to 3 seconds again, just so he doesn't go too fast. We are going to change this just a teeny tiny bit. So here, let me show you what it does if we don't change it. So let's go up and hit, you don't have to, but you can watch mine go. So he goes, he breathes fire, turns around, and he goes off the screen a little bit. You see that? So instead of 141 down here, we're going to change it to 131, just so our dragon doesn't fly off the screen. So if you watch that, goes this way, and then back, and he, well, I guess he does a teeny bit. I think I have that at 130. But he's going to turn around in just a second, so it's not too bad, but it just keeps him from going quite as far off of the stage. And then we are going to have him breathe fire again after that. Go back up to Looks. Switch to Dragon Costume C, that's the fire-breathing one. And then we're going to have him wait again, just 1 second, before he turns back around and goes back to normal. So we're going to wait 1 second. We found that there under Control. And then we're going to point back in the direction of 90, because he will be, when he's coming this way, he'll be facing the wrong way, but we want him to turn back around to 90. And then he is going to put on that normal dragon costume again from the beginning, okay? So that is our dragon code. So we got everything reset. Let's hit play and make sure our dragon does exactly what we want him to. So he goes over, he breathes fire, he turns around, he breathes some more fire, turns around, and he stops. And that is back to very close to normal. You'll notice if you hit reset, he moves a teeny bit, because remember, we changed this number just a little bit, but it's very close to normal. So that is our dragon. He is all done. That was the harder one. The unicorn is not as hard, so we're more than half done with this one. So that's our dragon. We've got our potion done. We've got our dragon. We've got him set to reset, and we've got all his code all lined up. So now we're going to do our unicorn. So click right here on the unicorn, and we've done nothing for the unicorn yet. So we got to do our reset part first, okay? So we're going to go to Events, and when I receive reset, because remember it's the potion that's going to broadcast the message, and the other sprites are just listening to it. So when the unicorn hears that the potion says to reset, we are going to go up here to Looks, and there's one down here that says Clear Graphic Effects. Put that one right there. So if you remember from the beginning, our unicorn isn't going to move. It's just going to change colors, right? So our unicorn isn't moving. There's no gliding. There's no costume changes or anything. It's just going to change its color. So that would be a graphic effect, is to change the color of the unicorn. So when the unicorn is reset, all it's going to do is change its color back to normal, okay? So that's it for that one. So to actually get it to change colors, go up to Events. We're going to do when the flag is clicked, then we need it to change colors. So we're going to go up to Looks, and we are going to change the color effect. So this one that says Change Color Effect by 25. There's different options down here just for different crazy stuff, so you can play with that later if you want to, but for now I'm just going to change the color. And I am going to change this to 100. You can change it to whatever number you want. It'll just make the color difference a little bit more or less noticeable. So I've decided anything less than 50 doesn't really, you can barely even tell. I mean, it's not that big of a change, but up to 100 is a little bit more noticeable. So I'm going to do that. And then if we do, I just want to show you, let me just hit this and see what happens. So our dragon's going to move, but try not to watch him right now because we're trying to focus on our unicorn. So let's see what happens. So it just changed one time. Did you see that? It just changed to blue, and then it stopped. But we want it to change to different rainbow colors and to do it over and over and over again. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to the Control tab, and you can see this one that says Repeat 10. You're going to click and drag that, and you can kind of set it here so that way your purple one goes inside that orange box. So make sure it's wedged in all like that, okay? So it's going to repeat this color change 10 times. So let's hit play and see what that does. Oop, did you see it? I'm going to reset and go again. Watch the unicorn really close. Did you see that? It was so fast we almost missed it. So what we want to do, oops, I forgot to hit stop. What we want to do is we want our unicorn to wait for just a second before it changes colors, so that way we'll be able to see it change colors, okay? So this one up here that says wait 1 second, grab that, and you're going to put it down underneath where it says change color. So we want it to change a color and then wait, and then change a color and then wait, okay? So let's see now what that does. That's a little better, right? You can kind of see, you can watch it change colors. I feel like my other one changed to yellow and green, so I'm not sure why this one's just going between pink and blue, but you can still see that the color changes. So that is our last little step. So we kind of did just watch it, but if you want to click on full screen right here, if you want to click on the go button, you can watch your code run, you can watch your dragon go, you can watch your unicorn change colors. All right, and then if you hit reset down at the bottom, it'll change it back to normal. You can hit that to get out of that. And that is your first project. So I'm sure I meant to point it out, but up here, right where it says save, you can hit save now, but it'll say saving project. It was doing that as I was going. But just save it real quick just to make sure that you've got everything done. And then that is our whole first project. So we are finished with this one. We are going to go back. If you want to click on your account up to my stuff again, you should see your project right here. I've got two because I did two. I did my one to show you, and then I did one just now with you. But so your project should be here, and if you want to edit it, you can hit C inside, but if you want to just watch it again, you can click on the title, okay? Or you can delete it if you don't like it or want to start over, okay? All right, so we're going to move on to our second project. This one probably won't take as long because I don't have to explain all the parts of the stage and everything. So hit create up here, and that brings you to the empty stage like before. So we've got nothing here, we've got our little cat with no backdrop, all that stuff. So go up here like we did at the beginning of the other one and change where it says Untitled to the Magic of Scratch Coding 2. Because this is our second project. So change it there just so it's saved as a different title. I'm going to kind of whip through getting this one set up just because we already know about the sprites and the backdrop and all that stuff. So you can get rid of your little cat sprite like we did before. You can choose a backdrop. We are going to pick Castle 2. You could pick Castle 3 if you want to. It should be roughly the same, but I'm going to pick Castle 2 just so it looks like it did before. So we're going to pick Castle 2, and then we are going to add our sprites. If you want to click on Fantasy just so it's easier, we're going to add our fairy. And we're going to add Fantasy, the princess. And then we're going to add the wand as well, the fairy's magic wand. So those are our 3 sprites for this one. And just like before, we're going to set up a reset sprite in just a minute, but let's get all our characters, or all our sprites in the right position first, okay? So go ahead, we're going to start with the fairy this time. So go here and make sure your fairy is highlighted blue. And we are going to change the X and Y coordinates so that our fairy is down here. So if it's down on the bottom to the left, it's going to be negative, negative, remember? So here we are, we've got our X. We're going to do negative 110 to move her over. And then for our Y, we're going to do negative 45 to put her down kind of at the bottom like that, okay? So negative 10, negative 45 for our fairy. We're going to leave her at a size 100 and facing the direction 90. We're going to change those two things with our princess in just a second, but go ahead and leave that alone for the fairy, okay? So for our princess, click on the princess. We are going to change her size. So the princess is standing a little bit further away, so she's going to be a teeny bit smaller, and we're going to change her size to 75 just like we did with the dragon, okay? And then for the X and Y, she's going to be kind of up here, so both hers are going to be positive. They're going to be smaller numbers, but they'll be positive. So change the X to 31, and then change the Y to 25. That will put her up on the path a little bit. And if you guys want to, you can always click and drag your sprites, but just for the sake of these instructions, I wanted all of our numbers to be the same. But you can always click and drag if you're doing your own project. It helps a little bit, I think, to think about the numbers and the axes and all that, but if it's easier for you to just click and drag when you're working on your own, that is totally understandable. Okay, and then the last one, we've got our wand, and we've got our wand here, but we want it to be kind of over in kind of how it's in the fairy's hand. So we are going to change the x-axis to negative 110. That is, oh, that's why. Okay, that's right. Our fairy, I was looking at the wrong part of my instructions. Go click on your fairy again and change her y or her x coordinate to negative 153. And that will put the wand in her hand a little bit better. We are going to change the y-axis just a teeny bit for the wand, so click on the wand again and change it to negative 45, just so it goes down a little bit lower. So now it looks like our fairy is holding the wand, and our princess, I forgot to turn her around, our princess is facing the wrong way now. So make sure you click on the princess, and we're going to do the same thing we did with our dragon and our unicorn. We're going to click the left-right button so she doesn't turn upside down. And we are going to pull this over to negative 90. So that way she's facing the fairy because they're kind of having a conversation, okay? All right. Click on your wand again. The wand is going to be our reset sprite, but this one's going to have a little bit more responsibility, okay? So we'll set the reset part first, but the wand is going to move this time, even though our potion did not. So click on Events and bring it over when this sprite is clicked. We're going to broadcast a message. New message, just like we did before. You have to set the reset up every single time. So when this sprite is clicked, broadcast reset, just like we did with the potion. So that is to tell the screen to reset when we click on the wand. But when our fairy moves her arm, we want the wand to go with it, so that way it looks like she's holding the wand. So the wand also has instructions the same way that our other sprites do for how they move and what they do. So you're going to bring over when the flag is clicked, our wand is going to, it's going to move. So we're not going to have it glide this time like the dragon, we're just going to have it move. So bring over go to, So when that is clicked, it's going to go to all right, hang on a second. Sorry, guys. I don't have the right numbers written down, and I don't want to get it wrong. Inside. So that's how you go in and you look at what your old code was. So we've got our wand here. Oh, I see what I was doing. Okay. So our wand is going to broadcast the instructions, but it's also going to have to go back where it came from. I wasn't sure what I was looking at, but I think I got it now. So our wand, not only does it give off the instructions to move, but it also has to go back where it came from. So I'm going to keep this, but it does not need to be attached to this. We are going to add the event when I receive reset, go to -10, -45, because that's where it is right now. So when we click on the wand, it's going to reset the whole screen, but then it also has to go back where it came from. So that is the code to send the wand back where it came from. But now we have to get the wand to move. So we're going to say when this sprite is clicked, the first thing our wand is going to do is it's going to wait for 2 seconds. So come over here to control, grab wait 1 second. We're going to change the 1 to a 2. So go ahead and change that to a 2. And then we are going to have our wand move after that. So click on motion. We're going to go to, and the coordinates are going to change. It's going to be -80 and 91. So it's going to go over a little bit and up a lot higher, because remember our fairy has it in her hand. So she's going to lift it up, and the wand, lift up her hand, and the wand has to follow it, okay? So after she lifts up the wand, our wand is going to wait 3 seconds. Change that to a 3. And then it's going to go back to where it came from. So this is where it came from. And that's what's already preset over here. So drag, go to X, and it should already say -110 and -45, because that's where it is right now. That's kind of how it defaults over here. So wait 3 seconds, and then go to -110, -45. And then our wand is going to wait 2 more seconds. The wand does a lot of waiting because it has to wait for the fairy to move first. And then it's going to go back to -80 and 91. It's going to go back up to the top, okay? So right now, our wand is the only thing moving. But if you want to hit play, it'll wait and then move, and then it'll wait and then go back down, and then it'll wait, and then go back up. So once we code our fairy is going to move to match so that her arm goes up at the same time that the wand goes up, okay? So remember that our wand was the reset sprite. So even though it moved, if we click on the wand, it'll go back where it came from, and it resets everything, okay? All right, so that is it for the wand. Hopefully my directions are right for the fairy and the princess, or I might have to go back out again. So go ahead and click on the fairy, and we are going to set her, we're going to set the reset up first. So when the fairy receives reset, and we've got costumes again on this one. So remember the dragon, he had all those different costumes. Our fairy does too, and we're not going to use all of them, but fairy A is our normal fairy. So when she resets, she's going to go back to fairy costume A as her normal costume. So go ahead and switch costume to fairy A. So she won't move yet, but that's what she'll do when she resets to go back to the beginning, okay? So that will do it for her, because she's not going to move either. So she'll just go back to normal when she is done with her code. So go over to events when the flag is clicked. So now we're going to actually put the code in to tell her what to do, okay? So the first thing our fairy is going to do is she is going to think. So if you click over here on looks, you have two things. They say and two things that say think. So we want her to think, but we only want her to do it for a little bit of time. All right, noise. So go over there and grab that one that says think for 2 seconds. And we're going to leave that one just like it is. She's going to think for 2 seconds. And then we're going to change her costume so that she moves her hand up to the top. It's like she's waving her magic wand. So go over to switch costume. We're going to do to fairy B. So that's what's going to make her raise her arm in the air. And we are going to do the sound magic spell. There it goes. So, and you can record your own sounds. I'm not going to do. Alright, I probably need to just turn that off for the time being. But you can pull start sound magic spell, and you're just going to do it one time. Don't do the one that says until done, or it'll repeat a bunch. So pull the sound down so that way when she waves her wand, it'll do the sound. And we are going to make her wait 1 second. And that's when the princess's dress is going to change color while she's waiting. That's when that's going to happen. But the princess doesn't like the first color, right? Remember, her dress turned pink, and the princess looked angry. So the fairy has to change her spell. So she's going to go back up, and she's going to think. But instead of thinking, she's going to think, oh, no, for 2 seconds. And then she is going to switch to fairy costume D. You see how she looks kind of sad? Like she was sad that she did the wrong spell. So she's going to switch to fairy costume D. And then she is going to think, for 2 more seconds. She's going to try to come up with a different spell in her brain. And then she is going to switch her costume back to fairy B and cast another spell. So fairy B is the one with her arm up in the air. So she's going to cast another spell. So we'll add our magic spell sound again. I did turn my volume off so that it would stop doing that. And then we're going to wait 1 second. And then at the end, remember the princess liked her dress color. So we're going to say out loud, not think, but we're going to say, change hello to say yay for just 1 second, okay? All right. I know this is kind of hard to wrap your head around doing it this way. What you just have to do is run the code over and over again to get like the seconds and the increments and stuff right. It takes a little while to kind of get it exactly the way you want it when you're making it up on your own, but it's really not too bad. I did both of these in an afternoon. It was not too bad to figure it all out. So we don't have our princess done yet, but let's just watch our fairy. Let's go ahead and hit go. She says, she's sad, and then she's happy, and that's the end. So we have to code our princess still, but that was our fairy and the wand working together. So go ahead. We're going to hit the wand to reset everything. And we are going to move on to our princess. And this is our last thing to code before we are done for today, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the reset. So go to Events, When I Receive Reset. And our princess is going to switch back to her normal costume. So we've got her costume A right here. The princess does some different things too. That's her angry stance. We're going to use that one in just a minute. And then this one, she looks like she's like happy or like thankful. Like she's saying, yay, I'm so happy that my dress is a pretty color. So we're going to use that one too. But Princess A is what we want to happen when we reset so that we can go back to the beginning. So she is going to switch costume to Princess A when we reset, okay? So, before we put the code all in place, go over to costumes. We are going to change the color of our princess's dress. Not under costume A, though. Where it says Princess A, we want it to stay blue. But go down to Princess E, number 5. And if you click on this bucket that says fill right here, you can go up to the color. You can drag it to click any color you want. But this is the one that she's mad about. So decide what color maybe she doesn't want her dress to be. And you can do pink like I did, or you can do a different color. It's up to you. And then you just have to click on the different parts of her dress, and it will change the color. If you want to click on all these tiny little blue spaces, you can. I didn't, just for the sake of time, but it's up to you. So my princess does not want to be wearing the same color as the fairy. She does not want to match. So she is angry that they are matching colors, okay? So Princess E will be whatever color you don't want. And then if you go up to Princess B, you can change it to what color she does want. So maybe she wants like a nice pink like this instead. So that's really bright. Like I said, you can pick whichever colors you want, but go through and change Princess E to what color she does not want to be wearing, and Princess B to what color she does want to be wearing. So then when we change their costumes, it's going to change the color too, okay? Okay, so click on A before you get out of that. We're going to go back to code. We're going to do our princess line of code, and then we will be all done with this. This one turned out to be a little bit longer than I meant for it to be, but I think we're doing okay. So we're going to go to events. Say when this sprite is clicked, she is going to wait for 2 seconds, because if you remember, our fairy has to think about her spell first. So the princess is going to wait while the fairy is thinking, and then she is going to switch to costume E, which is the one that she does not like, remember. And then she's going to wait for 5 seconds. Oops, remember to snap your code on like Legos. She's going to wait for 5 seconds while the fairy is sad for a minute, and then she has to think of a new spell. And then the princess is going to switch her costume to costume B, which is the one that she does like. And when she's happy at the end, she is going to say, perfect. Or you can say, yay, or thank you, or whatever you want your princess to say at the end for 2 seconds, okay? So that should be it. Let's watch it like on the small screen just to make sure everything goes okay first. So go ahead and hit play. She thinks, raise. That's not a good color, so she tries again. That's perfect. And the fairy says, yay, because she did a good thing. So click on your wand again. Let's reset. And we can watch it this time in full screen. So click that I forgot to show you. Click that full screen button up there to get it to look like this. And then you can hit go and watch it run. Yay! All right, so then you can hit reset. We can go out of that. And there you have it. Those are our 2 projects that I had all figured out for today. So those are 2 examples of what things that you can do with Scratch coding. I know we looked earlier at all the different sprites and all the different backgrounds, so you can really do whatever kinds of projects you want. You can make things change colors, you can make things move. One of my other favorite ones that I did was this guy, and he moves and the colors change. So we've got our swimming fish and our diver up here. So it's just cool. I really like Scratch because you can do all kinds of fun stuff with it. You can put letters on there and make them do crazy things like this. It's really fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I can't promise I will know the answer, but it is something that I've been kind of playing around with because I think it's fun for kids to learn this kind of stuff. So we'll have to see if I come up with any more Scratch coding programs, but if you liked this one, please let me know so that I know that there is interest. But I am going to go ahead and sign off for today, so thank you for joining me, and I hope that you enjoyed our Scratch coding, the magic of Scratch coding program. Thanks, guys.